Promotional consideration paid for by the following. The new Jewel, trying to quit cigarettes, but still want to look cool in front of your friends? Then look no further than Jewel e-cigs. All the cool kids are doing it, and it is guaranteed to get you laid, or your money will burn in hell. Plan B. If you arrive early or are tardy to leave, your days of worrying are over. Plan B will save your life, and you will never have to push her down a flight of stairs again. Lipitor. If you have high cholesterol, or low cholesterol, or even perfect cholesterol, Lipitor is for you. Remember, take Lipitor or you will die.
Listening live to Nothing Worthwhile with Moody and Groo. Andrew Gruthis, how the hell are you, my friend?
I am tired, I'm jet lagged, but I just got here from Florida. We are in Phoenix, Arizona. Are we technically in Phoenix?
We are technically in the Gilbert, Arizona Nothing Worthwhile studios. Gilbert is a suburb east of the city of Phoenix. We are here live in Phoenix, Arizona. It's probably 12:30 a.m.
Which means it's 2:30 a.m. in my body chemistry. But
well, what's always nice when you fly from the East Coast to the West Coast is you gain time. That's
yes.
the one nice thing about it.
Right.
So you'll be exceptionally exhausted tomorrow. We'll prop you up with a lot of coffee, and Coca-Cola, and.
But I did fly first class, so I did get a nice.
How was your
nappy
first class flight experience?
It was good. It was. I mean, I've flown first class before when I was in the movie business. You know, when I was doing that. So it's a whole different thing.
Is the toilet paper a little thicker, a little more great to catch?
I did not defecate on the plane this time, but no, it was a smooth flight, nice flight. I had a quick layover in Detroit.
Oofa.
So well, I got the little Pontiac Silverdome memory going there.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's great to be here. I'm very excited. It's Royal Rumble weekend. We are making this, at least it was an annual thing. Now it's becoming a biannual thing, and who knows, maybe we'll hit all 4 biggies.
I may have to just get a second or third job just to fund my WWE or wrestling trips, but that's great. So today we're going to talk about the state of the WWE. We have 6 or 7 topics I'm going to grill Groo on to see what he thinks about what's happening with the WWE. Thoughts, predictions on the Royal Rumble. However, let's open up with what's really important. The massive Royal Rumble burger will be sold this Sunday at the WWE pay-per-view. It is made up of a hamburger, 18 ounces of pork bratwurst patty, cheddar cheese, smoked bacon, crispy coleslaw, fried onions, barbecue on a toasted onion roll. Groo, will you topple the Royal Rumble burger this Sunday afternoon?
Where's your bathroom? No, I will not.
Whoa!
I will not. I'll tell you why. Because even though I am, as you know, I do not eat healthy, but I do not, like, when I look at something like that, that thing stares at me and says, I'm going to kill you tonight. So I'm not going to eat that. It's like I spread out my garbage. I'll have a little here, a little there, but I don't think I saw that thing. I can't do it.
All right.
I'll collapse.
All right. Well, we don't want to add to your cholesterol, so
maybe we'll split it.
Okay.
We'll split one.
That's fine.
That might be worth it. But.
All right. Let's talk about where we're at with the WWE. We've got 6 burning topics, and you know what? I was going to go backwards to front, but I'm just going to hit it up with first topic number 1. I've entitled The Women's Evolution.
All right, we'll skip that.
And as you know...
No, I am slowly slowly making my way towards where you are with this.
And as a great man once said, evolution is a mystery, full of change that no one sees.
Who said that? Bash and Booger?
No, that was that's the Evolution theme song from Motorhead, Lemmy.
Oh, yeah,
Remember Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista.
She's still... No, it's Dio, Ronnie James Dio who died. Oh, yeah.
No, Lemmy died also.
Oh, did he?
And actually Triple H was one of the keynote speakers at his funeral.
Didn't he do the game theme song? Is that him?
The game,
yeah. Motorhead, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
He's been dead for a while. So...
That's a shame.
Yeah. It was funny because Triple H did speak at the funeral, and it was, Triple H is such a... Hi, Erica.
Hi, Evan.
We're doing our podcast.
Hi.
I apologize. It's my friend Groo. Say hello.
Hi, how are you?
I totally forgot he was coming into town.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
I'm Erica.
I'm Andrew.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
She's the sweet one.
She's the sweet
I
one?
love Erica. Yeah. I have to protect her.
It's very nice to
Mom.
meet you.
I heard your voice and I was like, what is he doing up?
Childish stuff.
Yeah. That's
fun.
Thank you very much.
You're going to see a different side of him this weekend.
Yes, for sure.
All right,
Erica. Well, Erica's a female, and so we could talk about the women's evolution. So whether it's the talented class from NXT, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Asuka, mixed in with the already talented females on the roster, Natalya, Naomi, add a dash of the biggest free agent signing in women's wrestling history, Ronda Rousey. Women's wrestling is hotter than ever. For the first time in the company's storied history, WWE, as you know, had an all-women pay-per-view titled Evolution, held at our hometown New York's Nassau Coliseum. Took place on October 28, 2018. And while the actual pay-per-view itself was given a middle-of-the-road review on the internet, it did lead to the prominence of women in the main television storylines, highlighted by Becky Lynch face-planting Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam after Charlotte regained her women's championship. We've had Carmella as champ. We had Nia Jax with the face breaker on Becky. Ronda Rousey having a very solid performance overall. The women's roster looks to be in far better shape heading into this year's WrestleMania. And as you've said, and I've said it before, almost 1 year ago to this day, the women will main event this year's WrestleMania. And I think that I will be, again, spot on correct. Groo, will the women main event this year's WrestleMania? And if so, what match do you think it'll be? Do you even want to see this match? Is the women's movement built to last, or is it just the hot thing for this moment?
I think it's bigger than it's ever been, and it will keep going. People respond. I am moving in that direction, but I'll tell you why in a moment. But I don't think they're quite ready to put on as the main event of a WrestleMania women's match. Because, but it does depend. Wait, it does depend on what they have. Actually, after Sunday will tell us. Well, I think Sunday Sunday, depending on what happens Sunday, we'll know.
So here's my point to you. Are they ready, and will they have it, are two different things. The question is, do you think that the women will? Do you think the last match at this year's WrestleMania will be the women? Because I believe, I'm about 90% as we speak right now, that we will see some variation of what's been rumored. Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch, possibly throwing Charlotte Flair for a three-way. I believe as of right now, today, that will be your last match at WrestleMania.
Are you really into a triple threat women's match to end WrestleMania?
I'm not a big fan at a major pay-per-view of a triple threat with men or women. I'm a guy that likes one-on-one. Visually, it's easy for me to pick up. However, if it's well done, sure. I think what the WWE needs to do is to close out WrestleMania on a high note. You've had Roman. You had a very poor ending to last year. We were there. The Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match, not for lack of trying, was a fiasco. The fans were not into it. Brock won. I don't think the fans cared if Brock or Roman Reigns won. 2 years ago in Orlando, a gassed-out Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns. Actually, Roman did a pretty decent job. It was The Undertaker who looked pretty shoddy. So I think the WWE's got to finish on a high note where the fans could walk out feeling great. That's, I think, important. But again, I think we'll see whether it's Becky versus Ronda or Ronda versus Charlotte. I believe that's the hot match going into this year's WrestleMania.
Well, I'll tell you, maybe they're testing the waters here because they have been ending a lot of Raws and SmackDowns with the women.
Yes.
So maybe they're seeing how that shapes up and the responses to that, and they seem to be good. Here's my thing with the women's wrestling.
Go ahead.
Okay. Ronda Rousey is the perfect one because she's a fighter and she doesn't, like when I see women come out of the from the back, I can't tell them apart if they're all decked out, their hair's blue and they do all this crazy thing. But Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, they are wrestling as Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, the person, not the character. And that's what I like about them. With them, I like them as themselves. Charlotte Flair is the daughter of Ric Flair. Ronda Rousey is the UFC. And they don't need these crazy paint jobs and costumes that, so with those three, and maybe a little bit Nia Jax, okay, I'm not 100% sold on her yet, although she does have some mic skills. I got to give her that.
Neither am I.
I'll give her some mic skills. She does have that, but, I love that big ass of hers. I really would love to. Anyway, but I would think that a Ronda Becky Lynch match could close a WrestleMania
and it's funny because
in satisfactory fashion.
When you went over everybody, you did not mention Becky, who I think is the hottest.
I did mention Becky.
You mentioned Charlotte and you mentioned Ronda.
No, but I said those three, they are themselves out there.
Is Becky the hottest act in WWE right now? Are the fans the most vested? I don't mean hot in a physical sense. I mean,
no, I know
right
what you
now,
mean.
Is she the hottest act in WWE? Because I would say right now, who's
booking wise,
hotter?
yes.
Who's hotter?
Booking wise, yes. The way they booked her and the way they booked everything, it seems that she is that everything kind of revolves around her.
The two hottest or most unique things that WWE's got going into this WrestleMania is Becky Lynch, and I love sort of the nuance now with Daniel Bryan as this villain, vegan millennial.
Yes.
I'm going to save the world.
Yes, that is innovative.
It is different,
and I'm enjoying it. But getting back to the women, okay, so basically you have a 3-women division. Like, to me, okay. I'm not interested in any other ones other than them because of what I described.
Will or can Sasha Banks break through with a great performance on Sunday? I mean, I believe Ronda's winning. But can Sasha somehow position herself?
They have done some good booking there with, towing the line between
Sasha's really cut it loose on the mic.
Yeah, because Sasha and Ronda are supposed to hate each other, but there's Ronda giving Sasha props, and I like when they do that.
Did you see
it makes it real?
Did you see Ronda's promo on the last Raw where she kind of stammered, but she kind of spoke from the heart?
She doesn't. I love that. I love that. She doesn't have. She's that. Ronda Rousey is the type of performer who doesn't need great mic skills to get over. She's got the resume, she's got the talent, and she will always get heat, and that's a good thing.
So what about the late breaking news that Ronda will be taking a leave after WrestleMania to maybe start a family? Any thoughts on that?
She responded to that and basically said, "Stay out of my vagina," like in those words. I read it on the plane actually. She's like, why are they interested in my uterus? She actually used those words. I
actually think that it's maybe not a bad thing.
No, because I agree.
I think that, if Ronda was to become, let's say, a part-time or special attraction performer, that might, in the long run, lengthen her career, which actually dovetails into my next topic.
But wait, let me just respond to that real quick.
Son of a bitch.
Wait a second. You want me to respond, don't you?
Go ahead.
That basically tells us who's not winning at WrestleMania. But yes, she will work as a part-time attraction because a lot of people they criticize the part-timers. But if you have a whole bunch of part-timers, it kind of works. If it's just one guy, like a Brock Lesnar, who shows up once every 6 weeks, it doesn't really work. But if you don't know who's showing up when, and it could be anybody, then it kind of works. So I don't mind that.
So hold that thought, because that's important.
Okay.
But I believe Becky Lynch will be walking out the winner at WrestleMania.
Okay, I'm going to save my prediction for that till after the Royal Rumble.
It's very funny how you mentioned part-timers, because number 2 is the rise of the part-timers. Mm-hmm. Like your yearly addiction to cigarettes, Groo, the WWE in the larger world of pro wrestling has always been hooked on bringing back old-timers and part-timers to fuel the interest in the product. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a nod to nostalgia or a lack of star power, the WWE recently has frequently goes back in their past to brighten their immediate future. Over the past 15 years, the WWE has brought back such big names as Jesse the Body Ventura, Tatanka, Road Warrior Hawk, Bret the Hitman Hart,
No, Animal.
Mick Foley.
Hawk is dead. You mean Animal?
Oh, you son of a bitch. Brock Lesnar, The Rock, Triple H.
I don't know how far back
Sting,
you're going here.
Undertaker.
When was the last time Jesse the Body was there?
Referee, he's done some appearances as well.
Not recently, though.
Kyle, are you going to criticize my research now?
No, I'm just asking, unless there's something I don't know.
No, he did his last appearance.
Last I remember,
on Raw a couple of years ago to promote. He had a True TV when they were doing the guest hosting, the Raw guest hosting.
Was that
spots.
when he and Vince got into the announcer's chair?
Yes, they did.
That was something else.
The old brown jackets.
Was fabulous.
The old brown WWE jackets.
Oh man, did I love that? Yeah.
Undertaker, members of the McMahon family, Bill Goldberg, Kurt Angle, now even John Cena, Trish Stratus, Lita. That's not even mentioning Hall of Famers who do not actively wrestle anymore but make appearances to punctuate storylines. We've read over the years that it would be best for the WWE to focus on its current active stars and build new stars for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Yet they seem at times to overly rely on big names. This all came to a head. They were criticized a lot for the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, which featured a main event of a 52-year-old Undertaker tagging with a 50-year-old Kane versus a 53-year-old Shawn Michaels and 48-year-old Triple H. And they went over a painful 28 minutes. The match itself was panned and even had a major injury to Triple H, who tore his pec muscle. So, you mentioned it before we even got to it. Your thoughts on part-timers, implication for the WWE future, and can the WWE still make major stars?
Yes and yes. I think that you're talking about the crown jewel now.
Yes.
That never had a chance because of the controversies surrounding it. So no matter what, that carried such a load on their back into Saudi Arabia. So there was no way.
But it was a bad match.
It was a bad match, but coupled, it was already criticized for happening anyway. So if they had done it here, at least it probably would have had some good crowd, some good response. Just the novelty of seeing these four in the ring.
You know what depressed me about that match?
Shawn Michaels depressed me about
that.
Him lying at the end.
We do think alike. Yeah. We do think differently, but
yeah, it was.
I didn't see. I was looking for something that would. I guess I was looking for 11 years ago when he was 43 and he still. But I mean, he didn't look horrible, but I didn't see anything that went wow. Like that was the.
No, I wasn't expecting that. What I didn't like was seeing him. He looked like they had to take him out on a gurney. Like he's just sitting there lying there, sucking wind. Like it was not fun to see. But it's World Wrestling Entertainment now, and that like Michaels could still be such an effective character. He does not have to wrestle matches. Same with Triple H. Okay, they could be entertainers without being wrestlers. But to get back to your part-time thing, if it makes sense, it makes sense, and I'll give you and it works. I'll give you an example. Okay, like for me, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think it's going to happen because I think where they're going with, and are we getting to Rumble predictions in this thing?
At the end, yes.
Okay, so I won't go to my actual prediction, but there is talk of The Rock doing something between now and then, and that will always work for two reasons. Number one, The Rock is great. He's your number one pick of all time. And number two, he's the biggest star in the world he's if Howard Stern is the king of all media, The Rock is the prince of all media at this point. And so whatever you do with him will get heat, and I think that if they did it right, like I could definitely see him winning the Royal Rumble, setting up a match between him and Brock at thing in a storyline that's meant to bring back Roman Reigns in some capacity. But all that depends on Roman's health and stuff like that.
So let me ask you, do you expect to see Dwayne Johnson in some form Sunday afternoon at Chase Field?
No.
Okay.
I'd like to.
My answer is no, and I think with Roman Reigns going out, that went out the window. But I think The Rock, from what I've read, it was rumored to, it was a Rock-Roman Reigns match, which I really am not crazy about in the first place. However, without Roman Reigns, I don't think you're going to see The Rock in there. And as a matter of fact, Roman Reigns just announced that he was going to be co-starring in the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff on Fast and Furious with The Rock and Jason Statham. So,
all right, so you know what that tells me? That tells me that he's doing okay in his battle, in his health woes. Okay, so if that's the case, I would totally buy a return for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, a surprise return as part of a program between The Rock and Brock Lesnar.
Okay, so
that would be finally the thing to get Roman Reigns over.
Let's hold our discussion for Roman Reigns because that is interestingly enough, my next bullet point was Roman Reigns. Okay. But let me ask you, let's just say focus. Will we see Roman Reigns in some form this Sunday at Chase Field?
No.
Okay.
I hope not, because it'd be like blowing your wad to if he's almost ready to come back and you do it now. No. Why? Because if you bring back Roman Reigns on Sunday, right? The only way to have it work is to have him win. And then what do you got? Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar 7 at WrestleMania. Like, come on.
Okay.
So even if he's ready, you keep him out and you save him for when it's right. And Sunday is not the right time.
Can the WWE still make a major star? Will we see, another John Cena anytime soon?
You would know better than me because you know what's coming up through the ranks in NXT.
Is the WWE
are they
star
capable?
power diminished?
Yeah, because it's too episodic. It's become really episodic television. Like there was a realism to the Raw. Let's look at the McMahon Austin era.
Go ahead.
There was something very real about that. Even though we knew it was entertainment, there was something very real about the backstage stuff, and it didn't seem as staged as it does now. Now everything, you could almost hear him saying, "Okay, cut to camera 2, cut to camera 3." It's too polished. There's no edge to it. It's too slick, and that the slickness of it and the beauty of it gets in the way of the grittiness.
So, as a fan, because I actually 100% agree with you on this point, the few moments when you watch WWE television and you go, wow, that was something cool, Are those the moments when they go, those performers who have a little more leeway go off script and cut a little bit loose? Like we talked about the Ronda Rousey promo on Raw.
Yes, and I'll
She
give you another
stammered
example.
but I was like, whoa, she's really cutting loose on the mic.
I'll give you another great example. I guess it was about 2 or 3 Raws ago, where Lesnar and Heyman were in the back, and Braun Strowman was in the ring talking smack about Brock Lesnar. Wait a second, I'm going to tell you what I liked about it. Okay.
Was that when Braun forgot his lines and there was like an awkward 30-second silence?
That's what Braun does all the time. That's why he's just not. He's not fit for that program.
We'll talk about
it. But what I loved about that, because there was an intensity, because you had Brock and Paul in the back listening to what Braun was saying, and all of a sudden you saw the real Brock Lesnar come out. He's sitting there smiling, and he's like saying, "All right, can we go out now? Can we go take care of this?" And then Brock just goes, and Heyman's like, "No," and he stays there. And now Brock is coming up by himself. And all of a sudden, I really felt like, okay, this is Brock Lesnar, and he's pissed off. And he's coming in, and this is going to be fun. And then he comes out, and he circles the ring. And basically, he needed Braun Strowman to step up and be somebody or do something. And it went right into a brick wall. I do not blame Brock Lesnar for that. I put that on Strowman and the writers and whatever. What did they expect? Just a stare down was going to be it, but that moment where Brock was just smiling and laughing and just said, "F this, I'm going out there," and he just went out there, and I was like, something cool could happen here, and it just dropped dead.
Yeah,
So the answer to your question is, they still have the capabilities, but they are putting too much on the wrong people. Like Braun Strowman, I'm sorry, he's a monster, he's a big guy, but he doesn't have the he needs to be a heel with a manager. He'd be great with him.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't think they did him any favors. They booked him very weak looking against Lesnar.
Absolutely.
I think maybe 6 months ago was his time to maybe give him a little taste of a big win or a championship run.
But he's not popular enough. People just don't. They're not buying into it.
I said 6 months ago. I think
was he? Do you think?
I think his run has died down a little bit.
I don't know. To me, it was dead when he won the tag title with, what was his name?
Matthew,
Nicholas. And we marked out for that when we were there. We were like, yeah! And then afterwards we were like, what the hell did we just cheer for? But again, so I think that was poor.
It was like he was put in a
bad spot. Yes.
And then of course, what does that do to your tag team division, which I didn't even include on there, but the WWE now, they want to make a move towards tag teams to fill out the roster. But I don't think they did Braun any favors. And yes, I agree now. Clearly it's not the right time. But when we talk about star power, this actually, and we talked about him before, but I think the one guy, and as much as maybe you don't want to hear it, the one guy that might be legit is Roman Reigns. So that leads me to my next point, which is, and I really thought about this, what does the loss of Roman Reigns mean for the WWE? Roman was looked to be the symbol of the favorite child. Roman has been the symbol of the fans' ire, as he is perceived to be the new WWE Golden Boy, or the next chosen one. Win after big win only seemed to stoke the flames of disgust from the WWE universe. His time as WWE champ was uneven at best. Earlier this year, Reigns shocked the world when he revealed he was battling leukemia for the second time, delivering a powerful speech on Raw in which he vowed that he was not retired, but also let it be known that there's no telling when he may be back. Reigns' unfortunate cancer diagnosis resulted in WWE possibly throwing out all the WrestleMania plans, which has left a gaping hole of star power in the absence of the heart and soul of Raw. for all of his criticisms, it really does seem that Raw has been in a funk ever since Roman Reigns, announced his unfortunate cancer diagnosis. Will you admit here and now that the WWE Universe misses and actually needs Roman Reigns?
Yeah, but the reason that people had problems with Roman Reigns is because the way he was booked. That's all. That's all it was. He's mega talented. He's a superstar, but when you constantly do the same thing over and over again, and they just didn't book him right, and they did to him what they're doing to Strowman.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think Strowman actually was worse.
Roman definitely has better charisma than
the fans more than ever are smart to the internet, and the fans more than ever want to be part of the show. And I think that really shits on the product from time to time. And whether it's these chants, the what chants, and everybody, and I think even for the WrestleMania, the main event versus Lesnar, no, it wasn't a good match, but I mean, they're throwing beach balls. I mean, I was so just blown out and disgusted. Sitting there for 6.5 hours, and in the fight, I'm just
but do you know why though? Because WrestleMania season has to be treated like WrestleMania season. It has to start on Sunday. So for the last few years, the results of the Royal Rumble were not satisfactory to the fans, so they didn't have that much to look forward to. So okay, we're getting last year we're getting Brock and Roman again. Wasn't that what
last year Nakamura won the Royal Rumble and chose AJ Styles.
Yeah, and that was that last year or 2 years ago?
Last year was Reigns, Lesnar, and Nakamura versus AJ for the belt.
Okay, so we had the main event is Reigns, Lesnar, but Nakamura won the Royal Rumble, and I don't think that was a satisfactory. It was a surprise, which is always good, but I don't think he was big enough. You need a full-fledged superstar to win this thing.
Would you not say that the Nakamura Rumble win was sort of a nod to the internet wrestling community who wanted to see AJ versus Nakamura? They had wrestled at Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan.
Maybe.
It was considered to be a classic match. Now, the WrestleMania match was not a classic. It was well received.
I enjoyed the heel turn.
Yes, but I think the match itself was good.
Yes.
But it wasn't what I'm sure the WWE wanted to deliver on, which was a classic. It was not a classic, but it was a good match.
But the Royal Rumble is supposed to... I mean, they say it's supposed to set up a title match. What it really needs to be, it's supposed to set up the main event, whatever it is. And that wasn't the main event of WrestleMania. Main event of WrestleMania was Brock versus Roman, okay? Which had nothing to do with the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble really needs to set the table, okay? And they have a chance to do that. They just have to do it right. And with Nakamura winning, they didn't really set the table. They set the table for a match at WrestleMania, but not the match at WrestleMania. Okay. Do you know?
So let me go
Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay.
But my question about Roman Reigns, go back to Roman Reigns, and this is going to sound very weird, but and forgive me, God, but was getting leukemia the greatest thing for Roman's wrestling career? Because I believe that has set him up as a sympathetic figure, and when he comes back, he might actually be bigger than ever.
Yes. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that. It's like...
I'm going to hell for saying that.
No, you're not. It's like saying that...
Can you work with my humor, please? Thank you.
Yeah, all right. We're both going to hell. It's like saying that God forgive us, but the Parkland shooting was the best thing that's ever happened to some of those kids who are now world famous.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay, but...
You're going to edit that comment down.
No, I'm not, because I am from Parkland and I know what's going on.
You could say that, right?
Yeah, I can say that.
You're from Parkland,
I can say that. I can say that, but you get the gist of what I'm saying, and the answer to your question is yes, from a fan's standpoint. He's shaking his head, folks. He's doing 6 Hail Marys, and he's.
This is number 6.
Wait, why are you baptizing yourself?
This is number 6 in the most politically incorrect moment.
No, but let me address that real quick. Yeah, the answer is yes, because that's what makes a superstar. The audience being on their side. So now you can't root against Roman even if you wanted to. You can't, because he's now, if he wasn't the underdog before, the cancer diagnosis makes him, it gives a reality. It injects a reality into a fictional thing. And he's a sympathetic character, and you root for him. You root for him to overcome this barrier.
So, I think...
But it's still got to be done right. That's the thing.
Has anybody really stepped up since... Let me just finish. Since Roman's absence, I think there have always 3 or 4 names. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman. And for a while, even Elias I throw in there, but he's sort of been moved back a little bit, or he's become more of a unique attraction with the guitar breaks and everything like that. So, has any of these guys really stepped up in Roman's absence?
They've tried, but it's not, they've tried to take gimmicks and run with them. It looked like Ambrose Rollins was going to be big, and that kind of fizzled out. I still don't quite know why. Maybe because people resented, even though I thought it worked perfectly when Ambrose turned on Rollins after they won the titles. A lot of people didn't like that.
Well, but that's the point. You can't please everybody. And
I know that.
I thought it was that was good television. You took a heartbreaking thing, and you know what? And it's not really politically correct. And they said, "Screw it. We're gonna use it for a major angle." And the WWE always hopped on any opportunity for PR.
Absolutely.
And any opportunity.
Absolutely.
But then they sort of backtracked off with the storyline. They actively mentioned Reigns' cancer diagnosis, and then like 2 weeks into it, they sort of faded back, and I think that's when it lost a little bit of steam. They kind of softened the verbiage, and it just...
Right, but maybe the problem is that in the end, Rollins and Ambrose are borderline cruiserweights.
No,
they're not. Maybe they're just not physically imposing enough. Look at Ambrose. I mean, he is not, as much as I love him. I think he's great, and he's got so much potential, but he's not a heavyweight champion of the world.
Well,
he's just not, and that's okay.
I'll give you that. I think he could still be a phenomenal heel, but
he's a Tito Santana.
No, I think he could be more. But for example, one of the things when they booked that, you have his wife Renee Young, who's doing color commentary on Raw. They make a nod to it that they're married. Mm-hmm. They never follow up on it.
Right.
And, human nature would be, why is your husband acting like such a dick right now? And
right.
they never. That always confounds me. Like, book it common sense wise. I mean, like if you want, his wife's doing color. She's like, I don't know what he's doing. And then they would just...
It reminded me of when Brian Christopher would be wrestling and JR would keep calling him Jerry Lawler's son, and Lawler would be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, definitely lost.
But to answer the original question, there's no face of the company right now.
Doesn't that hurt?
Yeah. It's big time. Like, there's no face of the company. They tried to do it with Roman, didn't work. They're trying to do it with Strowman. It's not working.
Well, Strowman, I think,
he just doesn't have what it takes, and he's not an underdog. You can't make it. Needs to be an underdog. Look,
is the next face of the company Becky Lynch?
They're getting the most heat right now. I have to say that. As much as as I'm not as invested in it, but that's my problem.
I mean,
the crowd responds. The crowd responds to these women.
If you put Becky in the ring versus Ronda and Charlotte, let's say you go triple threat, before the bell even hits, the fans are going to be going nuts. There's going to be chanting. There'll be such high anticipation. We talk about major stars. They publicize bringing back John Cena. First of all, I hate his hair. He's got to cut it back into the marine.
I don't know what
but
he's ruining himself.
Ruining himself as a wrestler or as an actor, or a little bit of both.
Both. I mean, he's becoming a caricature. Like I was really hoping, and I told you this when we were at the show. I was really hoping that Cena Undertaker match would be Cena as would be Undertaker's the American Badass and Cena as the Thugonomics. Like that would have been a great. Just a great surprising thing. They had a chance and they blew it.
The backstory was supposedly they were going to go to the American Badass because of Kid Rock.
Right.
But allegedly they canceled it. Kid Rock made some comments during the Hall of Fame with politics that they did not like. And so that's what I've read. But that's what I had wanted too. And I think if you go back to our old podcast, I said, would that not be amazing if they went with The Undertaker? But would you imagine if John Cena and they came out to the old Cena music?
Yeah.
Even if he didn't even wear the chain anymore, if he wore the same outfit but the Cena music, the Thugonomic music, the place would have went bonkers.
I'd be interested to see.
Why do they not do that stuff?
Well, they haven't done it for reasons that you've said, because Cena as a face sells too much merchandise. I'd be interested to see what his sales figures are now, because now would be the time to give him a great nasty heel run.
I think
that's my opinion on that.
Well, clearly he's out. He won't be at the Royal Rumble. From what
is that official? Is it a work?
Yes, but I think he's going to film another movie. So they just announced he's doing a Netflix.
He's not even good.
Is
he?
I loved him in the part-time. He did 2 comedies. I didn't see Cock Blockers. I didn't see Blockers. I did see the Transformers, and it was he played
Bumblebee.
I saw Bumblebee, and he played type. He played a military guy, but I preferred him in the smaller comedic roles. I think he's actually a very funny comedic actor. He's able to poke a lot of fun at himself. He's a very muscular, strong-looking guy, but he always plays a very insecure.
Yes, but maybe that's the problem.
Trainwreck Sisters was great.
All right, but maybe that's what people are seeing in the ring, because when The Rock comes back, whenever he shows up, he sort of plays himself as the cocky, arrogant movie star. He's not looking for cheers, even though people will always stand up and like they did for the Macho Man. Even though he was a mega heel, the place went bonkers for him because he was larger than life. Well, The Rock is. But when he comes and plays off like he left wrestling and he's, playing that heel guy, like arrogant and rich and whatever, now you could do that with Cena. It's time. Because whatever they're doing now is not working.
My favorite incarnation of The Rock was the 03 Hollywood Rock, where they even changed his theme song with the lights, the golden lights of Hollywood, and that whole slow intro.
But don't you remember? Like you mentioned something like, I think you were insinuating that they're letting the crowd dictate what they're doing.
No,
and you didn't like that.
No.
What was it you said?
The fans have become more engaged to be part of the actual show. So, for example, we talk about that this year we're going to go to the Monday Night Raw after Mania. That's typically thought to be the greatest Raw of all time of the year. But why is it so much fun? Because the fans are so hyped up from Mania, and they can't wait to see the new storylines.
Right, but when Mania ends on a sour note, then it's like...
What I'm saying is you hear all the chanting throughout the show, and I like that in bits and pieces, but we see it now on every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view with the what's, and the fans want to interject themselves, and because they're so, quote-unquote, I hate using the word smart, they shit all over the product. If they don't get the finish they want, it's not even a normal boo. It's beach balls. It's just drowning it out. And to me as a fan, I don't enjoy it as much maybe as I used to. It was a unique 10 years ago.
Yeah, but do you remember what really was the instigator behind that Rock heel turn? You remember what it was?
Well, if you're talking about 03...
02 into 03.
Well, I don't. I just remember that he had come back and he was playing the arrogant Hollywood guy, and if I and probably my one greatest memory was he cut a promo on Hulk Hogan that to me is one of the greatest, and it was a videotape bit where he was on a set and he was eating tofu and he was demanding to have a fresh plate of tofu.
I remember that, yeah.
And I just remember watching that going, this guy is absolutely brilliant because he's taking his current sort of deal and spinning it into something that's completely watchable. I don't know if there was an incident that made him go bad,
but where I'm going with this is that I believe what started that whole thing was how the crowd reacted just months earlier when Rock fought Hogan.
I believe
right, I think that was the beginning
yes.
and I remember Rock saw where this could go and saw the business that they could do by changing things up a little bit. So that sort of led to that. The crowd response led to what they wanted to do, and I don't think the WWE is paying attention to that anymore. They claim they are, but they're not.
Right, but you had asked me earlier to do it. No, actually, I don't think that I think a lot of times they try to overthink it and try to outsmart the fans, because if it's rumored that this guy is going to win, for example, Roman Reigns, everyone thought he'd finally get over on Brock at Mania last year, and then we thought Brock was leaving, and yet we were like, "Oh my God, Brock won!" Like, what's?
I was happy that Brock won.
Okay, all right, but
because I still think
your opinion aside,
okay,
what I think when the McMahon family came out a month ago and said things are going to change, the things that they was purported to do was listen to the fans more, push some of the guys and the girls that the fans seem to be behind. We look at a guy like, for example, Rusev at WrestleMania last year. His entrance and the crowd reaction was electric, yet he doesn't.
Wasn't he on the pre-show?
He doesn't seem to get a real consistent sniff. And
but isn't he a tag team champion now?
No, he's a U.S. champion.
U.S. champion.
He beat Nakamura, but they don't seem to. I agree.
All
I
right.
think if you look back in the Attitude Era, they noticed. Wait a second, this Stone Cold Steve Austin just cut an amazing promo. And we got some signs in the audience, and let's give him a little bit further push on the card, and let's see what this guy can do with it. And I think sometimes they try to outsmart, and they want to dictate. And I think, I don't know, you're a movie guy. I think you don't want the fans to dictate, but I think you got to listen to them and try to find that common ground.
Yeah.
Where you're finding innovative storylines, but you're giving the fans what they want too from time to time.
Yes, and I do think that all of this is rooted. And you'll probably disagree with me, you have in the past, but it's the brand split that hurts it. Because I want to see these guys mixing it up every week I want to see The Miz on Raw with these guys. I want to see Bryan, I don't mind seeing, when Raw and SmackDown, when they were together, we'd see Rock and Austin and all those guys and Undertaker on Monday, then we'd see them again on Thursday. It was a continuation of the thing. It was twice a week. Now, it's tough to do that on a Monday and Tuesday. It's overkill, but not seeing these people together and then bringing them together for a couple things here and there for pay-per-view, it just doesn't... There's so much talent, but it's too spread out.
So you're talking about...
So
you're talking about your two shows, television, and this actually dovetails into my next topic, which is...
this is flowing nicely.
Yeah. and my headline is big. I mean real big TV money. And this is from the Hollywood Reporter, Groo, and it says, it's official. Fox will be the new home of WWE SmackDown Live. Mm-hmm. The network announced a 5-year agreement will commence on October 4th, 2019. Will give Fox 2 hours of live event programming 52 weeks each year. The Hollywood Reporter previously reported the new deal is worth $205 million annually and over $1 billion over the lifetime of the pact. NBC announced it closed a new 5-year pact to keep Monday Night Showcase Raw on the USA Network. Sources have said that the deal is worth $265 million annually, a big raise over the current pact, which is worth about $150 million annually. So you're looking at about for the WWE plus $115 million to keep Raw on USA Network.
So I'm going to call it right now then. When does it start, by the way?
Well, SmackDown goes on October 4th, 2019. But what so
on Fox.
Yeah, and so let me just read you a couple of things that.
Well, I'll call. Well, just before you do that, I'll call. I know what they're going to do the first show. Okay, new general manager of SmackDown, Roger Stone. How great would that be?
It's unclear how
he'd be good too. I saw that guy all day today, man.
He's a Florida guy,
character.
Lauderdale, right?
Yeah, he's a character, man.
It's unclear how the WWE will navigate future cross-promotional opportunities, having both programs. McMahon noted in a statement, Fox has promised to cross-promote WWE across its sports portfolio, including Major League Baseball. Next season, Thursday Night Football was a big factor in the WWE executive's decision to sign the pact with Fox, although I think that $1 billion package is probably what cinched it. And so, again, what we talked about in the car is live event programming, pay-per-views, doesn't really drive business. It's now the television deals that actually drive business for, I believe, for the WWE. So,
yes, it's the polar opposite of what it used to be.
So, again, the WWE certainly seems to have lost its position in terms of ratings and maybe importance in television as, reflected back to the late 90s. But so, what does this television deal, this a lot of money, say about the current state of the WWE? Or is this more of a statement of the current fractured universe of television in the insatiable quest for 24/7 programming? Is the WWE worth these astronomical numbers? Are they or are they not?
I think they are. Or if they're not right now, they can be. And maybe this is the boost that they need. Did they say what day this SmackDown is going to be on? Is it going to still be Tuesday?
I think it's moving back to Thursday.
See, my hope is that I hope it'll bring the brands back together. I still don't like the brand split.
So I think that...
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think so either. It's simply for the fact is that because they have so much money now, and this will dovetail into my next topic, they have really made a push to sign everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And, even with just Raw and SmackDown, I've come to the conclusion, because we read so much about, we talked about Rusev and these guys or these girls that are not getting a push. There's just only so many spots. There's just only so many spots to put even on a 3-hour show. And so, you read so much about these guys and these girls that are disgruntled, but there's just only so much time. That's why I believe you'll most likely not, although I wouldn't say I would disagree with it, but I think you're going to keep two separate entities, Raw and SmackDown. You're going to see a rise in the NXT brand, NXT UK. They're trying to create maybe as much programming to slot these guys and these girls to give them some kind of platform. 205, main event. These are shows even on the network that we don't hear too much about. They even have 205 now. It's got a unique roster. Buddy Murphy's champion, and I just read that Aiden English is now going to be the voice of 205.
So basically, so what you're describing is that basically the WWE is sort of bringing back the old territory type wrestling days, even though they own it all.
I think that's an interesting and very fair statement. Yes.
I could get behind that. However, what if they were to pick 4 superstars to transcend
both
it
shows?
All? Could that work?
I think any scenario could work. When you were talking about, back in the 90s where, let's say, you'd have Undertaker on both shows, you're a guy that's worked out of Hollywood. Is it, if they did that today, would that kind of be difficult with storylines and stuff? Like, I don't know. I mean, would that be confusing?
I don't know. I just remember.
If Miz was on SmackDown, all of a sudden he shows up. I do agree that I think once in a while would be phenomenal. I remember one time when Undertaker, I think, was on SmackDown. He showed up at Raw. They showed him in the backstage walking through, and I remember as I was watching and I was like, wow, this is really exciting. But that again was really the first time.
Okay, I'll tell you why it doesn't work for me. Because
the brand split.
Right, I'll tell you why. Because when I watch Raw and then I watch SmackDown, I'm confused. Because it's like I feel like it's supposed to be the same.
Is that because of lack of insulin?
Maybe, because it's usually post, pizza. But
let me wipe the crumbs.
Yeah. But because it's like, it's not like WWF and WCW, because we knew that they were against each other.
Right.
So we knew that they were in direct competition. That's what made it interesting. What are they going to do on Tuesday to top what happened on Monday? Like, what is WCW going to do today to top what WWF is going to do today? Now, since we know that they're both owned by the same company, there's not that competition anymore. So it's like, all right, so you got a whole bunch of different stories going on here and a bunch of different stories going on here, and it's too much to process. It's like, what's your favorite episodic television show? It's not like fictional television show.
Really?
Yeah.
It's on right now?
Yeah. Or ever.
I mean, the only show I really watch religiously is Family Guy.
Okay. Would your interest in Family Guy be as big if new episodes were on every single day?
No.
Right. So what I'm saying is that you have a new thing on Monday and a new thing on Tuesday, and then once every 4 weeks you have a new thing on Sunday, and then so it's just, I feel like they need to come back together again.
Is Raw ridiculous at 3 hours?
Yes, but it's not changing. I mean, JBL explained that, and it's like it's a USA thing. It's a USA thing. That's the way I.
Have you watched it though on Hulu with the condensed version?
Yes.
Isn't it much more enjoyable?
Yes, but I still find myself fast forwarding through certain things because
on Hulu when it's only 90 minutes.
To be quite honest, when I see people I've never heard of before, because.
Don't you interested at least to give it a shot as a fan?
I give it I look. Let's call it what it is. I am in a much different place. Actually, I'm not. I'm in the exact same place.
When you were 13 and watching Superstars.
Well, look, when we were living in Florida together, and I had the time to invest. Now, like honestly, now that I'm older and I'm working more steadily and like all that, like my time is very, very valuable to me. So like I don't like, you know me, I'd rather watch reruns of Dallas from the 80s because I know I've seen them and I know exactly what's going to happen.
Another podcast.
And I know that, but it's like I know I'm not going to be disappointed. Yeah, it's like I know I'm not going to be disappointed. It's because I don't want to give my time to something that's going to piss me off. And there's just so much. Maybe they have too much talent.
Do you watch and find yourself disappointed most of the time?
Not disappointed, just like, all right, I don't need to see this.
Because my question
it's not disappointing. It's not that it's disappointing.
Underwhelmed? How about
underwhelmed because I'm not invested in. I can't get the astronomical stardom and firepower of the 80s and 90s out of my head. I just can't. It's like, because you will always compare what's happening today to what happened yesterday.
So do we watch, because I still consistently watch, and I agree, maybe it's not the 3 hours, and maybe I watch Hulu and I fast forward it, but do we watch and yearn for something that's going to remind us of those days, similar to like maybe when we listen to Howard Stern?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I mean, You tell me, this is true. You tell me Brock Lesnar's going to be on, I'm going to watch that week. It's just, he draws. He just does. Because I know Heyman will be there, and he's always phenomenal.
You're not getting a little tuckered out with Brock Lesnar?
Nope, I'm not. Because to me, he is still still the top of the mountain.
So you have a product. You have a television product. Forget if it's wrestling, but we'll call it wrestling.
Yeah.
He's the champ. He's a part-time guy.
I know.
You don't think that it would benefit them at some point to move the focus and the belt to a guy that's going to be on every Monday
Absolutely,
night?
But it's got to be the right guy to topple the beast.
I mean, what do you...
They don't have. They've been trying to do it and they failed.
What's next? What are you gonna dig up Mel Maskers? I don't know.
Isn't he still alive?
I don't know.
Well, look, in my mind, there are a couple guys.
I don't want to.
There are a couple guys.
I want to say there are for the Rumble predictions.
All right, but there are. If we're gonna, but forget about the Rumble for a second.
Let me give you one guy. You mentioned Seth Rollins.
Okay, well,
are you thrilled if Seth Rollins beats Brock Lesnar for the main event? Neither am I.
I'm going to give you a couple guys who I think can be the guy to finally topple the beast.
Well, I asked you about this earlier. Give me some names. I said Elias, Drew McIntyre.
Okay, no and no.
Give me.
Okay, I will give you Miz.
He's on SmackDown.
Yes, but I'm not saying Raw or SmackDown now. I'm saying in the company.
Let me just tell you one thing about him.
Okay, go ahead.
They're again doing him a disservice.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of the Shane McMahon storyline. If it's going to lead to him versus Shane at Mania, I'll enjoy it. But again, I'm going to say I want this fucker in the main event for the SmackDown title at Mania. I want him against AJ or whoever the champ, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, they're doing him a disservice. So there's The Miz. There's I think Rusev could be an absolute megastar.
Okay, well they at least gave him the U.S. belt. So
okay,
we'll see what happens.
I would be sold hook, line, and sinker for a program for Rusev and Lesnar.
Is that just because you want to see Lana?
I didn't even know Lana's still around.
All right.
I think Rusev is awesome.
Mary Carey?
You know?
Go ahead. All right.
It's good in there. It's cool.
All right.
Wait. I'm thinking of some more. Not Roman. I think that ship is I think that ship is sailed.
But give me, he's out right now.
I think that ship is sailed. Hulk Hogan, no. Elias, if they move on from where he is, like right now, it's the same thing over and over again. He's got a following, but it's time to lose the guitar and start making him into a wrestler.
Well, I think
shave all that shit. Make him.
I think you've got to. I think you got to use it better. I think the guitar thing is a nice hook. I agree with you though. You got to start to flesh him out a little bit more, and then you could always go back to it for brief moments here and there. But
yes, but this they're building up Finn Balor.
Well, I'll talk about that later because I'm actually pretty happy with that. But
all right,
that's why you're a fan, and that's why I'm a fan.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something very interesting because I think you'll like the last two topics. You mentioned the territory system. You mentioned about a lack of competition, and I always remember the Monday Night Wars, and occasionally I'll watch an old episode on the network of the Monday Night Wars because to me, you'll never see a time period like that again. That's the golden age of wrestling for us. You know, maybe for our parents it was Haystacks Calhoun in the 60s, but for us...
But to be fair...
Oh, Lord.
Wait, just...
Go ahead, let me give the floor to Groo again.
No, just to be fair, we never thought during the New Generation era, 93 to 94 or 5, we never thought we'd ever see anything that would entertain us like the late 80s did. But then... So it's possible.
Well, the late 80s was a phenomenal, yes.
Right. It's generation. You never know it.
As a fan, liking it and loving it.
Yeah,
but
if we look at it now, it's cartoonish. But the WWF was in a big lull, and then the screw job happened, and all of a sudden everything blew up, and so like
But I think
it's certainly possible to have another Zenith.
I think
I will always hold out hope for that.
no,
You really don't think?
it'll never be like that.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Okay.
For one reason and one reason only. Not that wrestling, let's say, couldn't be more popular, but I think the current state of television and entertainment has even changed since the 90s. I just think between cable, live television, streaming services, the internet, it's so fractured now. And what I say is something like the network, similar to Howard Stern moving to Sirius. Yes, it has lowered the profile, but you've gotten a more niche, maybe hardcore fan. Like, I mean, I would say my experience with Sirius Satellite is, you know, and again, I don't always listen to Howard straight through Monday through Wednesday, but I'm a pretty hardcore. I can certainly talk from the 90s. And so I think the WWE fan, it's become niche. It's not maybe like the 90s where they're on TV Guide.
Right.
However, these are fans that want to gobble up, and they go on the websites. They're smart. They want to know all the ins and all the outs. And to me, what you said before was the key piece for me. I couldn't wait. I loved Raw and Nitro, but what I really couldn't wait was to read how they were going to try to out. Jeff Jarrett's going to WCW. That was the part that I loved. It was like the Red Sox and the Yankees. Who was going to get this guy? Who was going to, dig on, who was going to, the results are going to be, that's the part that I loved so much. I loved, oh my God, Road Dogg's moving. But then the WWF is going to sign Big Show. That's the part I loved. But you mentioned competition, and curiously enough, my number 5 topic is independent wrestling. Are we all in? And so, Groo, while overall viewership and maybe interest is down for the WWE and their flagship shows, independent wrestling may be bigger than ever. From local shows to specialty events like the Chris Jericho Cruise to even bigger events like All In, the demand for independent wrestling seems stronger than ever. The WWE is signing more independent talent than ever, buoyed by the new TV money deal. And then I just added, from CBS Sports on January 1st, 2019, there will be a new player inserted into the professional wrestling landscape. Rumors of the new All Elite Wrestling promotion was confirmed by Elite members Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page on a special edition of the YouTube series Being the Elite. Shortly after the announcement, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer provided some more information. Tony Khan, son of Jacksonville Jaguar owner Shad Khan, will be the money man behind the organization. As for actual wrestling stars signed to AEW at this time, the list includes Cody Rhodes and potentially none others. The Young Bucks, who along with Rhodes are the driving forces behind AEW, are all obviously expected to sign shortly. We do know that there was a press conference held on January 8th in Jacksonville, Florida, which was right next door to SmackDown. They're opening up with an event called Double or Nothing. Chris Jericho now has been signed by AEW. Other big names rumored to join are Bill Goldberg, Goldust, Neville, and from the WWE, Dolph Ziggler, The Revival, and Maria and Mike Kanellis. Do you see independent wrestling or this new AEW promotion as legitimate threats to the WWE, or can they be at some point legitimate threats to the WWE in 2019 and beyond? Groo, the floor is yours. Go.
No, because the reason that that you're talking about WCW all over again. And
well, I'm just asking you, can AEW, I mean,
no,
obviously
it can't.
We're going to reference back to something
Right.
like that, but just look at it simply as
no.
Tony Khan, you got big money, Jacksonville Jaguar money. They're pumping a lot of money. They signed Jericho, who is a big name. I don't think he's 48. He's my age. I don't think how much more does he have left in the tank? But they certainly have gone after the WWE. They trademarked the slogan, change the universe, which is obviously a dig at the WWE universe. I'm not going to sign it off as, well, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I'm somewhere probably closer to your camp. I think it's been overblown. But already, if you read the websites, some of these disenfranchised WWE wrestlers might look at this as a potential resting spot to ply their trade if they're not going to get a push on WWE television. So again, let me go back to you. Thoughts on this whole deal?
A threat, no. A cute alternative, maybe.
Wow, a cute alternative.
But the WWE is still, even though everybody loves to crap on their ratings and this and that, it's still a juggernaut. When and I'm going back to when WCW came, because they had a bottomless pit of money also, so they gobbled up all these superstars, and they were taking digs. They were firing shots at WWE also. But remember, at the time, the WWE was not. It was on a downswing. Okay, as far as money goes. Okay, they were not in good shape. Remember the whole they couldn't even afford Bret Hart's contract anymore, according to legend. But let's leave that there. But what I'm saying is, they are still now. They are a juggernaut.
You don't
they
think
are
that
happy.
Vince McMahon said, "You know what? For the money I'm paying Bret Hart, fuck it, I'm gonna let him go."
Maybe, but what I'm saying is the product and viewership was down, attendance was down. Everything was down, but there were no other players in the game. So it was like they didn't even need to try. Now, you still see you see people wearing these shirts all over the place. Everybody knows who these people are. I don't care what they say. Like Dave Meltzer always says, yeah, Raw, or now it's like Conrad Thompson on the podcast.
Well, Conrad hosted the January 8th All Elite press conference.
Right.
So he's I guess maybe positioned as one of the
good
voices.
For him, and I think that's great. I think he's terrific. I think he's like us. He wants to see greatness. But what I'm saying is that they talk about like nobody's like the viewership is down for Raw and SmackDown, whatever.
But it is.
It is because you were getting 4s and 5s in the late 90s and early 2000s. Now you're getting 2s and 3s. Okay?
You're not getting 3s.
Okay, you're getting 2s.
But listen,
okay, but that's
we
because
know that there's other stuff out there.
Yes, that's not just other stuff. There is
I just said
a plethora.
I just said that earlier.
Yeah.
However, the number is still the number.
All right. Well, then let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that the average fan, like not even the average fan, but the average person, would even be able to differentiate between the WWE and AEW?
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. I don't think it can be dismissed as a lightweight, cute alternative. They sold out a 10,000 seat arena with no platform, no cable, and I think the other thing and I'm a WWE guy, so I'm a fan, because for all the criticism, the one thing that the WWE does better than anybody else is that moment. If I died tomorrow, I'd probably flash and see all of those great moments that were encapsulated on WWE television, all those great moments we spent at live shows. I mean, they do it still better than anybody else. The moments seem sometimes few and far between lately, but that's the one thing that WWE, the production, the grandeur, it is amazing. But you do have wrestling people. Cody Rhodes, you got wrestling people sort of now running a wrestling promotion, which is maybe going to promise to be like almost like a collective where it's wrestlers running sort of their own promotion. I think it's when you say mainstream fan, I think the little kid that's going with his dad, no, they have no idea. They have no idea. Somebody like you or me that actively reads on it might pique our interest. I think for me, the WWE, they don't need to worry about them. What they need to worry about is just putting on the best shows that they can put on week after week, and I think it'll solve those. So, I mean, would I be concerned myself if the Revival left to go and be a tag team? Not really, but apparently WWE's concerned. I read the New Day might be interested in.
Good, let them go.
Well, I agree on that as a businessman. And I don't work in business, but in a job setting, I do believe let everybody go who's not happy.
Yeah.
And I think,
because for me, the best thing that could happen to the WWE is for them to lose a lot of the extra fat that they have, and maybe they'd be forced to bring it back to one promotion. Because like you said, there's so many people that they have to have two separate things. Well, you know what? I liked it better. If you look at some of those old Raws and SmackDowns, everybody was over. But there were only like 15 people.
Well, that's true.
So they were able to put all their energy and focus all of their energy into these characters and these superstars. They were gimmicks back then that should never have gotten over. The Godfather, Val Venus, like that music would hit and the crowd would go nuts because there were only a few, not a few, but there weren't 50 people to keep track of. Now music hits and half the time I don't know whose it is because it all sounds the same.
Oof.
It does. It's like generic metal. I'm hearing in a lot of
Is there
ways.
anything you like about the current product?
Yes, I love bits and pieces from each faction. I love what the Miz. I love the Miz. I love what Daniel Bryan's doing. I still think what Lesnar and Heyman have going is great. I think I'm warming up to the women thing.
So there's stuff that you like.
Yeah, and if you put that all together in one thing, you have something. And I really do. I can buy into a McMahon run on camera role for these things, not wrestling, but the Authority again. I really enjoy that. I really do.
Do you really think that? Well, you're talking about two different things. I think. The one thing you cannot deny is the McMahons, especially Vince. They are very compelling television characters.
Yep.
There's just no two ways about it.
Yep. Vince has lost a few steps, but he's still.
You know where I think Vince has lost it the most?
Where?
He has no timbre in his voice anymore. His voice is almost completely changed.
Yeah, he's old.
Very deep. And it's sort
his timing is off. His time, he doesn't have the time, but that's okay. Look, he's done his bid for God and country. but I think anytime Triple H is there, he just commands attention. I really believe.
All right,
that.
so let me ask you a question. Let's just go back real quick. Raw, SmackDown Live. Are they going to let people in with All Elite Wrestling shirts on? Because I've read that they've made people take off that merchandise. Would you care?
No.
I would say back in the 90s,
Why?
the WWE didn't care, but I think they care now. They don't want to use their platforms to promote another.
That's petty. It's not. It's that. I don't know. Do you remember back then? Did we see people with NWO shirts and WWE
I think occasionally.
crowds?
I think when you went to a WCW show and you went to you hated. I think we played both ends. I think we went to Nitro. We were like, WWE sucks. When we went to Raw.
No, we didn't. I remember we left that show early.
Yes,
we left that show early.
Yeah.
You know who was standing in the ring when we left them? Think about this
Was that
now.
the Ultimate Warrior return?
The Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan were in the ring.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Think about that now.
Well,
they were standing in the ring, and we walked out because we had to work the next day.
But I think we were not blown.
I wouldn't even do that now.
I don't think we were blown away by the show, though.
No, it wasn't good. But just the novelty of being in the same room with those guys back then, we didn't appreciate it then. We would now, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember. I'm sure we left early, but
we did.
I want to say that I think we thought the show actually kind of sucked.
It did. By the time the Warrior came into WCW, WCW was going down. It was really. It didn't have that long of a run of quality that we think it did. Okay, it had like maybe a year's worth where it was really better. But then it started to collapse under its own weight. As soon as the NWO started to expand, that's when they started getting too big for their bridges. And we didn't know who was on this side, who was on that side. Now the LWO and Conan's running around, Viva La Raza. It's like it was enough.
It was a whole Michigan.
Yeah, like by the time Bret Hart got there, they were done. Yeah. I mean, even though they were still drawing money and getting the ratings, quality-wise, then we hated it. We went to Nitro because WWE didn't come down here. So we went there because we wanted to see it. We wanted to go to a big-time wrestling
Florida's
event.
A good spot. You get at least 1 or 2 Raws a year.
But it wasn't back then because WCW was the Southern, we didn't, I don't remember ever going to, if Raw came down here, we would have gone. Because we sure as hell went to Nitro. And that was the only WCW event I ever went to.
Me too.
And, and look, we got to see Sting, we got to see Hulk Hogan, we could say that we saw these people, which is a nice thing. But I don't think that the quality of it lasted as long as we feel like it did. This AEW thing, look, even
when not interested to see where it shakes out.
You know what? It's a tough question because here's the interesting part. I picked Hulk Hogan as my number 1 wrestler of all time, and you know me. You say Hulk Hogan, and I turn into a 4-year-old.
Understood. Okay.
But even when he was there, I did not watch 1 episode ever of TNA. Never. Not one. Not when Hogan was there, not when Bischoff was there, wasn't Flair there for a little bit?
Yes.
I didn't watch it once. I can't even tell you why. Maybe it was because maybe because the ring was weird. I don't know. I wasn't into it. I didn't care. And me being such a Hulk Hogan, child, for me not to watch a wrestling show. So that's what I'm saying. Why would I find myself, I'd be very surprised if I find myself interested in this AEW, because what that proves, the fact that I didn't watch TNA while Hulk Hogan was there, that proves that I am WWE through and through, no matter what.
My question is, though, are you interested to see how things shape out? I mean, do you see this as potential competition somewhere down the line? Whether or not you watch it is a different scenario.
You know what? It certainly could. It all depends. It depends on one thing: the quality.
Yeah,
that's all. Just like WCW, you know why they made it? Not because they signed all these people, because they came up with a hook.
Well, to me,
they hooked the hell out of us.
The NWO was the second greatest storyline.
What's the first?
McMahon Austin.
Oh yeah. Okay, no, I agree. But the reason we watched was I wasn't watching WCW Saturday Night when Hulk Hogan signed. I wasn't watching that.
You sure watched it when they went to the NWO?
Yeah, well, yeah, because that was like Hulk Hogan heel turn. My goodness, and then it blew up, and then all of a sudden here comes Roddy Piper, and here comes all these people, and then it just collapsed under its own weight. But if they come up with something innovative, yes.
Off topic, did you watch the Mean Gene special on the network?
Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
All right,
so my short answer after that long-winded thing, but if they come up with something innovative like WCW did with the NWO, then absolutely it could. I don't think it'll ever be a threat, but it could be something special. Absolutely.
Do you watch NXT?
No. But NXT does it only exist on the network?
Yes. You can watch it on Hulu.
Okay.
A condensed, no commercial version.
Yeah, I watched NXT once, and that was with you. That was 2 WrestleManias ago, the night
fun.
before.
It was a good show.
And that was the first time I saw Bobby Roode, and I said, this guy's going to be huge. And then he got the WWE,
They blew it.
And they just completely shit the bed with
By
him.
the way, great music, and then you get bored as soon as the music turns off.
Maybe because he's past his prime. Maybe this
No,
guy.
I don't think they booked him. I mean, to me, I don't want to get too much. They should have booked him as
He
a
could,
cocky heel.
they booked him poorly. But no, I haven't. What's your opinion of it?
Well, I wanted to talk about it, because you talked a little bit about this whole territory system, and the WWE debuted the NXT television program, which featured their rookies from Tampa Bay, Florida-based developmental territory. It was originally called Florida Championship Wrestling. February 27, 2014, NXT held its first live 2-hour special called NXT Arrival, and we know them better now as NXT Takeovers. You mentioned watching one during WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. And they run live events. I actually saw them out here in Arizona. I took Marie. We went to an NXT event in Phoenix. Triple H produces, sparse production focusing more on the in-ring product, minimal comedy, more of an athletic feel. What I wrote, a new feeder system indoctrinating wrestlers to the WWE style. Yet for some reason, when some stars move to the main roster, they flounder. December of 2018, WWE announced several call-ups to the main roster. EC3, the tag team Heavy Machinery, Lars Sullivan and his anxiety attacks, Lacey Evans and Nikki Cross. Your thoughts on NXT? Is it a success, a failure, or somewhere in between? Go.
In between, because it all depends on how these guys are booked, and B, can they hack it? The Shield, they were able to do it. Okay, they had the it factor. I think they blew it with Samoa Joe. When he first came in, I thought, here is the next guy. And they blew it.
Could have been a monster heel. Right?
Yeah, and he's just floundering. And I couldn't even tell you. I mean, is Bobby Lashley an NXT guy?
No. But Leo Rush, his voice, the manager of the... he's actually on 205 now.
I guess I guess I should start paying attention to it.
So I love the NXT show. I can't say that I watch it every week, but I watch it most weeks. I like it. I think a guy like you would probably like it more. Although I never really asked you, are you a in-ring guy, or do you like the comedy and the grandeur and the interview segments, or do you like a little bit of both?
I need the. I love what'd you do?
I just knocked my mic off. I love the.
He just gives me this look, just like here we go.
And 30 minutes later,
they have to complement each other. That's my thing. Like, I could never. You have to be invested in somebody before you watch them in the ring. For example, like if you watch an old Saturday morning show like Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, you see Jake the Snake Roberts fighting some jobber, you're going to watch because you've already been invested in Jake the Snake Roberts. But how did you become invested in Jake the Snake Roberts? Because of what he did outside the ring first. Okay? He won you over like that. He was this unique personality, and the way he talked and the way he conducted himself. So
but when you look back on that, though, don't you say to yourself, I was 10 years old and pretty much whatever they threw in front of me, I was going to not question? I mean, I sort of do that. I mean, I look back on those days fondly, but my fandom was completely different back in '89 than it is now. I mean, the WWE could throw Skinner in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, I can't wait."
No, I will. That's actually a perfect example. I remember there were certain guys who they hyped up who I didn't like, and Skinner was one of them.
All right, but it's a general rule.
Maybe, but if you think about it, okay. Well, let's ask each other those questions.
Go ahead.
in that 80s heyday, are there any people who were pushed, who were thrown in our faces constantly, who we just didn't want to see at that age, who we didn't want to see? Like, let's say we were who we are now. Would we turn the TV off if they, if they were there?
I would say that my remembrances of, 11, 10, 12, 13 years old was I didn't turn the TV off at all. But did I love everybody? Probably not, but I just was, Saturday morning, I was there at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock for Superstars, and I don't think I left the room, and I watched the whole damn thing, whether I was bored, excited, whatever they threw in front of me. If there was a vignette for a new guy, I couldn't wait to see the guy in the ring or the next vignette. I mean, I was like the greatest fan. Just throw whatever in front of me, and I pretty much loved it.
And you know why? Yeah, I think I just figured it out. Because the days, even though I guess we'll never get them again, but the days of good guys and bad guys was always the best. Because even like now, the name I can't get out of my head for some reason right now is a guy like Dino Bravo. Very little charisma, but such an asshole. And it was fun.
And he wasn't great, but I watched him.
Yes, and even when sometimes I throw on these old things, I'll still watch him. Okay, because he was so much fun to despise.
He was murdered.
Yeah, I know. Canada. Yeah, like a mafia thing.
Yeah.
But he was so much fun to despise. A guy like Jacques Rougeau or the Mountie or whatever, just so much fun to you just want to kill them and see them get their ass kicked. And it was frustrating to see them win, but you knew that them winning and winning was going to lead to them getting their ass kicked by one of your favorites. But because they were villains and they were heroes, there was nobody in between. Now, that line has been, if you're going to make that line very thin, you have to have real superstars. It worked for Austin. It worked for The Rock. It worked back then. It's not working so much right now. So these guys who are like,
I think the thing is,
it's working for Daniel Bryan, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I think when you look back at those days, it's hard to make, or maybe it's not fair to make a comparison because the product and society has evolved so much since even. Look, the 80s, 90s, it's still a relatively short amount of time, but the society has changed. Vince, blew away kayfabe. So it's the product has evolved so much, so it's hard for me to sit there and go, well, when you ask me, well, what about, in 85 when you were 15 or you were 13, I'm not even sure that's a fair comparison anymore because it's changed so much. Television viewership, good guy, bad guy, it's everything that you've talked about, and it's changed so much.
Yeah, but
I don't think you're going to see those heydays.
But
I just don't.
Don't like movies and TV still need good guys and bad guys?
I agree. I'm not. I just
aren't movies and TV still have the people who are obviously the heroes and the bad guys? So if it works for them as entertainment, why can't it still work for pro wrestling?
I think it does from time to time.
Yeah, it works for Daniel Bryan. It works for the people who definitely are on one side. But there are too many people who are, like, even the New Day, they're like half, like...
Well, don't you feel, though, that the fans have sort of proliferated that by sort of... the bad guys have sort of become the cool guys to cheer? So it sort of blurred the lines, and they've sort of had the promotions have sort of had to react and sort of create these nebulous shades of gray character.
It depends how well. That's the thing. The shades of gray. The problem with the shades of gray is that when you get into the ring,
the enemy.
Shades of gray wherever I roam. No, when you get into the ring to the confrontation. The stakes are not there.
That's the key.
That's the key. Like when you're watching the Avengers, the Avengers are the good guys and Ultron is the bad guy, And if you want to root for Ultron, great, root for him. If you want to root for the good, but you know that the stakes are high because, and so when you have two guys who are flirting with that line, there's no stakes.
You know, when you look at, I see that to me is the key, is the setting up of the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
You almost get the sense that Becky Lynch really effing hates Ronda Rousey, and maybe even Charlotte at this point. There's some real feeling there. I think that's actually the key. You've got to set up believable conflict. You know, to go back to NXT real quick. Is the disconnect that NXT is run by Triple H? You know, certain philosophies, you know, sparse, in-ring product, not too much with the comedy, versus Vince McMahon running the deal at Raw with grandiose production, 3 hours, comedy segments, off-camera segments. Is that, you know, there's a lack of, is that why some guys and some girls don't do well?
Well, yeah, because, you know, like, it's, in the end, it's about what happens in the ring. And if there's no stakes in the ring, what's the point? Okay? If it doesn't matter who wins or loses, and I'm going to go back to what worked, what always worked. Okay? Good guys and bad guys. Okay? And that really doesn't exist anymore because, you know, like in the movies, there are still heroes and villains. This is entertainment. Same thing. There are heroes and villains. You have to pick a side. When you're right in the middle there, where's the where are the stakes? Where's the like, all right, it's like, okay, he won. Now what? It's like when that referee hits that third thing, everything's got to change. The story has to move in another direction. Instead, now when it happens, okay, so Brock Lesnar lost this one, so now at the next Saudi Arabia thing, he'll win it.
Yeah,
it's
I think though what happens typically on Raw and SmackDown, a guy or a girl loses and they get shuffled down to the card and they almost have to scratch to kind of get that airtime again. Actually, if you've watched NXT, they probably have the single strongest storyline throughout all of the WWE shows, which is they've run now an old school feud that's run over a year between Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Aleister Black. They've sort of intertwined Aleister Black now into it, and I love it because it's like over a year. And so you got these guys who are a tag team. One guy sneak attacked the other guy, and they've had this rivalry, and now they're sort of reuniting again, and now they found a third guy into the mix. So
okay.
It's been pretty cool. Like, it reminds me of like the Tommy Rich, well, you know, Buzz Sawyer sort of, you know, when they did like a 2-year feud and just running all over the place. But
look, it's basically about who can do it and who can't. Okay, we talked about the Shield. They were able to come in and transcend. All right, but some people just come in with big hype and hit a wall. Samoa Joe. Okay, who else can you think of?
I mean, Bobby Roode is a guy that's
Bobby Roode, yeah,
done nothing.
Yeah, done absolutely nothing.
Even Nakamura. I mean, he's.
Well, I think they tried too soon. They build a guy up. Give, the Shield were a bunch of mid-carders, together for a while, and it built up, and then, I didn't really know much about the Shield until the Rollins turn. And then I was like, all right, this is good shit. Okay? But Nakamura, he's there, wins the Rumble, and all of a sudden he's in a championship match, big heel turn, and now he's, is he in New Japan?
No, but... Royal Rumble.
That was my imitation of Conrad Thompson's cackle.
There you go. 2019 Royal Rumble. Before we get to the actual matches, generally speaking, the build up to this year's Rumble, enjoyed it. Minimal. Don't really care. Just want to see the show.
The middle.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there are possibilities that they could. It's always interesting to see, you know, who's going to win. So, and that's something. See, that's something. That's why the Royal Rumble is great, because even if it's not a good show, the fact that we know that the winner means something makes us in it to the end. We're certainly not leaving before that last guy's thrown out of the ring, you know, because we want to see it. So, you know, do you know what I mean? So there's that novelty about that. What happens here is definitely have ramifications down the line.
Yeah, I like also that they still keep it as an open challenge, meaning I believe you could still be a SmackDown guy and challenge, although they haven't done it.
I don't like that. See, that's the thing. We disagree with that.
You don't like when they're like,
no.
Like I loved when Batista won and there was a question, you know, and obviously he went against Triple H, but you know, I always loved when like the Undertaker won and the two champions were in the ring and he'd do like the throat slash to the one that he wanted to fight at Mania. Like, I don't know.
All right, maybe if it works. Like,
didn't Nakamura, they interviewed him and he went into the ring and he was like, hey,
yeah, I know. I want AJ Styles. You know. Oh God, I'm sorry. But I still like the old fashioned idea of the guy is waiting to see who he's gonna be fighting at WrestleMania. Like, you know.
Speaking of Nakamura, let's go first match, U.S. Championship champ Rusev versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Please, God, let Rusev win this match, but it's not going to happen.
Really? You think Shinsuke is going to regain the title?
Yeah. They.
Wow, you sound so thrilled.
Well, because I think Rusev could be the next big monster face, and to put him down to.
See, I think Rusev wins.
Chop Suey is.
Oh boy. We just lost whatever sponsorship that we just lost.
I mean, come on, man! That guy gets up there.
We just lost our PF Chang sponsorship.
You need a freaking translator with this guy.
That's Andrew Gutierrez, Fox News. I think Rusev wins, but I would say for both guys, I don't know where they're going with either one. I don't.
Well, the good thing
I'd love to see Rusev win and build up some momentum, and maybe at some point challenge for the heavyweight championship.
Well, look, sometimes what happens when these guys lose is it opens up a chance for them to move up. Like, I'll even go back to when Macho Man Savage lost the Intercontinental title to Ricky Steamboat. He left the Intercontinental behind and he moved into the heavyweight division.
But do you get that feeling with Rusev? I just don't get that feeling.
I'm rooting for that.
I remember the ladder match where Triple H beat The Rock, and I knew The Rock was going to be getting his mega push.
Yeah,
I'm
rooting for that. That would be the only reason I'd be happy with a Nakamura win. It's because it opens up, it gives more opportunity for Rusev. So Rusev, they could build Rusev up as a big underdog, and he could start fighting for the big gold.
Okay, next match.
But I don't think it's. So all right. So yeah, I did call Nakamura to win that match.
All right. So I got Rusev. So we'll keep track of that.
Are we keeping track?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We'll remember.
Okay.
SmackDown Tag Team Championship: The Bar versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. Go.
Who's the Bar again? Wait.
You can't be serious.
That's Sheamus and
yes.
Cesaro. Okay. All right. Sheamus and Cesaro win that. They're not stopping with them, even though I still don't like them.
Oh, I think they're awesome.
I like their entrance, but once they get in the ring, I'm not into it.
So here's my notes.
I hate that the Miz is in this match.
Here's my notes. I'm reading my notes. There's got to be a swerve with Shane and Miz, right?
I would hope so. There's got to be something more than just a title match.
Is this going to lead to them facing off at Mania?
I hope not, because
is it? Be honest, because I think it is. And I'm not that crazed about seeing it either. If it was any other year, like 6 months ago, I saw Miz versus Daniel Bryan, main event with a double switch, Miz the good guy, and I would eat it up, especially now with Daniel Bryan's new sort of persona, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a little bit. I just feel again that this poor Miz. It just. I mean, again, listen,
are any of these
fighting
guys?
Shane McMahon is nothing to slap. I mean, nothing
No,
to
I
slouch
agree.
about.
But it's still where are the stakes? What is it about? Is it about anything?
I don't know. I just knock us
What's
off.
the story? No, you're good. But so all right. Well, let me ask you this. You would probably know this because I'm not sure. Are any of these guys double booked? Like, is the Miz also in the Royal Rumble? Or is he just?
That's a great question. Everyone on this, what we're talking about, could be double booked. I mean,
Yeah, because some people are. I know.
So supposedly, if you want to talk about double booking, that would lead us to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka is your champ versus Becky Lynch. Supposedly, the word is Becky is also double booked for the Women's Royal Rumble. We'll talk about the Women's Rumble a little bit, but let's just focus on Asuka versus Becky.
Asuka's got to win, because if you're going to have Becky fight for the title at Mania, which I think they should, then it wouldn't make sense for her to win the title here.
Is Becky going to fight for the Raw Championship at Mania?
Who's got the Raw Championship?
Ronda
Rousey. Yes. What if they went title for title? That'd be fun.
That could be great.
That'd be fun.
I agree with you.
So
I think Asuka's winning. I'm not sure if it's going to be shady or something to protect Becky, but I also agree with you. I think Asuka wins. I guess my question would be, what do you do with Asuka at WrestleMania? But that could be for another chat.
Yeah.
But I think the big match is Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte.
Yeah, but how do you? I don't want to see Becky lose. That's
Could
the thing.
Becky lose and win the Women's Rumble?
Yes, that would be a good way to
Would you
save
be happy
face
with
for her.
that?
I'd be happy with that. I wouldn't mind seeing
Would
a
you
title.
cheer and then look around and make sure no one watches you, and then you would cheer? You'd be like, hold on. Yay, Becky!
Well, wait a second. Are they gonna? Since we're talking about this, are they gonna? Which Rumble are they doing first?
Most likely the women's.
Right,
the women's.
probably.
The women does not. And again,
They don't have enough women to.
No, it's not that. And you're a guy who loves to criticize the women in a fun way. But I would say the one criticism, the Women's Rumble does not translate well as an event because of really one reason. They're not physically as large. It takes a lot to get these girls over the ropes. And
Correct.
it doesn't look as fluid. At least the first one didn't look as fluid as the men's. So
Right.
from a performance aspect, I didn't love the Women's Royal Rumble.
I don't even remember.
But we'll give it a shot.
I don't even remember.
Okay. Well, then let's go to the Raw Women's Championship. You have your champ Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks.
Rousey.
Jesus.
Rousey's got to have the title going into Mania.
Rousey's you didn't even give me a chance to finish.
Okay.
I really hope for a wardrobe malfunction with Sasha Banks.
With who?
Sasha Banks. Did you read Raw went black for like 4 seconds because her bottoms fell off?
No.
And it exposed her butt cheeks.
Really?
Mary Carey. Yes. Yeah, I think Ronda wins.
Ronda wins, yeah. That's what I think.
Okay, let's go to the WWE Championship. Your champ Daniel Bryan versus.
Well, let me ask you a question. Does the WWE typically keep the titles on the same people from Rumble to Mania?
Not always, and I think that's
Because
for me,
I hope they do.
They have two pay-per-views before Mania.
Yeah,
Usually they
like
have
Fastlane,
and probably some other bullcrap one. Because remember, a couple of years ago, Goldberg beat Kevin Owens for the title at the pay-per-view prior to Mania, and I think it's I don't know why I'm not crazy about that. I think it's like a quick sort of a quick hit. I'd feel almost better as a viewer if my champ had it for a few months at least going into Mania.
That to me is a big deal.
But you do have 2 pay-per-views.
True.
Which is such overkill. It's such overkill.
Yeah.
But actually, Sasha Banks came out. I read that she said that the WWE has way too many pay-per-views, does not allow for storyline build-up. And
Well, all right. Now that she's criticizing her own company, she's not winning.
but she's got a cute ass.
Yeah. That they won't let us see.
I know. Damn it. WWE Championship. Your champ Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. But Groo, what I want to ask you first is, do you love this new woke, eco-friendly version of Daniel Bryan?
Love it. Ballsy. Love it. Because he, to me, was too goody two-shoes. He was too... I just love seeing him chirp the crowd. Like, that's an old school heel.
Yeah.
He's great. And he does it beautifully. And I didn't think he could do it. Like, I didn't think I'd buy him as a heel because he was too. He was Brent Midland. He was too good. He was too.
We can run.
Yeah, but we can't hide from it. He was too. When I look at him, I see him sitting at a piano singing to his daughter. So it's like, but he's pulled it off, and he's bought into it 100%. I mean, he gives it his all, and yes, I absolutely buy in.
What's your thoughts on the match?
I'm not a fan of AJ Styles. To me, AJ Styles is...
Wow.
AJ Styles has the talent, but not the charisma. Like, he's not... He's great in the ring. But it doesn't... there's more to it than that. Like, I see him as the talent side of Shawn Michaels, but without the charisma and without the, there's nothing fun about him. Like Daniel, I'd love to see AJ Styles as a monster heel. Okay,
well,
let's see what he can do with that.
He cold-cocked Vince McMahon a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown.
Saw that.
And they've not really referenced it back.
Yeah.
But they dropped the storyline.
Yeah, I don't, But still, I'd like to see him as a heel.
So
he's not working as a face for me.
For some reason, I'm leaning towards Daniel Bryan retaining. What's your thoughts on the match?
Daniel Bryan retains.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a quick, any foreshadowing for Mania? What do you think they're going to do with Bryan? Will Bryan be the champ going into Mania?
Yes.
I think so too.
And since I'm not going to get Miz versus Lesnar.
We don't know that,
Mania,
but we're predicting it. But
right.
Okay.
But I would love to see, for the SmackDown title, Miz versus Bryan at Mania.
So would I.
That's the match. That's the match I'm hoping to see.
I don't think we're.
Well, then you know what? If the last several years are any indication, then Mania match will be Bryan versus AJ again.
Well,
whoever loses will win at Mania.
Here's I think the most interesting match of the night, and again, the Universal Championship: Brock Lesnar, champ versus Finn Balor.
Yuck.
Yeah, I love it.
Why do you love it?
I think you're going to enjoy the match because one thing I think Brock Lesnar does, he works better with smaller guys.
Who?
Well, I think probably one of the best matches of the year was when he fought Daniel Bryan at Night of Champions. They put on a great match, and I think ultimately you're going to see Brock retain. But I don't think it's as much as a lock, actually, as Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles.
But if Brock retains, what does that do to Finn Balor?
I think they're going to probably go with the same notion with Sasha Banks, which is champ retains. Let's make the challenger look as strong as possible. And if Brock goes away and if Ronda goes away, you've got Finn and Sasha slotted for the next big push. I think I think Finn's earned it. I think he's jobbed when asked, and he's won matches when asked. And I think he's a smaller guy, but I still look at him as a heavy. I love his moveset. He's in great shape. I think it's Brock, but would I be completely surprised if somehow Finn won the match? I wouldn't, but ultimately I think they want Brock as champ going into Mania.
Yeah, Brock's got to be indestructible.
Against Seth Rollins, which I'm not crazy about.
I don't think it'll be Rollins, but maybe.
I'll
call Brock.
Brock retaining?
Brock retains.
All right, so we got both champs.
Yeah. Have we disagreed on anything yet?
Surprisingly enough, you like Nakamura versus Rusev. Everything else...
You're calling Rusev?
I'm calling Rusev to retain.
Oh, okay. I called Nakamura to retain.
Women's Rumble. Carmella is locked in at number 30. Any thoughts?
Let me guess. She's not white.
Carmella. She was the champ that lost to.
Is she on the pancake batter?
She's from Staten Island.
Oh my God! What's happened to me?
She was with Ellsworth. They had
Carmella gonna win.
Yeah, no, she's a white woman, I believe.
Oh, she is.
Yes.
Carmella going to win. I don't know who she is, but I would think that the winner of the Rumble, the Women's Rumble, would be probably, I would say, Charlotte Flair. No?
That's a great call. Charlotte Flair. I think if Becky enters, she's got a shot. I'll give my outsider.
Well, then it depends what happens in Becky's match.
My outsider pick would be Nia Jax.
Okay.
What about Alexa Bliss? She's going to be competing. She's back.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What do you do with these people?
Just making a comment.
Yeah, no, but you know that the winner of the Rumble, the winner of the Women's Rumble, is going to be involved in something with Rousey, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, in my opinion, it's got to be either Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks.
I think the interesting piece is what's going to happen to the other belt at Mania. I mean, the women are going to square off unless they do, like you said, some kind of champion versus champion thing.
Right. Who's got the other belt?
Asuka right now. You got Asuka.
Yeah, she'll be on the. She'll be on the pre-show of me.
Welcome to the WWE pre-show, sponsored by PF Chang.
Yeah, and your women's heavyweight champion on the pre-show,
Asuka. Oh wait, that's Asuka. Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's get to the men's rumble. R-Truth is at number 30. We have I don't think they've even announced everybody. New Day, Drew McIntyre, some people have already been announced. Thoughts on the men's rumble?
I'm
not really sure.
I don't think I've ever predicted this rumble correctly.
Go ahead.
But I'm gonna go with what I believe is going to happen. I'm gonna tell you what I think is gonna happen, what I want to happen.
All right.
Okay. I think Strowman wins, setting up the simple road to WrestleMania. It's going to be Strowman versus Brock again. I just feel that that they're setting it up for that. What I want to happen.
Feel that cheeseburger you ate in Detroit.
I had a first class. It was a Reuben.
All right, great.
It was a Reuben. It's delicious.
Okay, go ahead.
So what I really would love to happen, okay, is The Rock to be a surprise entrant and to win. And to set up Rock versus Brock at WrestleMania.
Here's the thing.
Wait, just let me finish.
Oh, Lord.
And that is the catalyst to bring back Roman Reigns into some kind of fold at WrestleMania. However, whenever, I don't know. I'd be good with that. I'd be good with Rock coming in and winning that thing.
Okay, so before I even...
But it's not going to happen. I didn't say it was going to happen. I said that's what I would love to happen.
Does WrestleMania need that big name?
Yeah, it certainly does.
I mean, without The Rock, would you be disappointed in a typical Mania card?
No, I mean only because we're going and it's going to be great. So no, I would be good. Hey, all right, fine. Let's take The Rock out of it for a second. Let's say no chance, like you say, no chance in hell.
Let's get The Rock out of it.
Then what I would love for to happen is, you won't be surprised with this, I'm hoping The Miz is in it. I hope he wins it, and I hope it's Miz versus Brock at WrestleMania. And if Brock is going to go away for a while, I think Miz is your guy to topple the beast and be the face of the company.
This is really.
But I've been barking up that tree for years now.
I think what's going to happen is probably standard. I think you're going to see Seth Rollins win and challenge for the title. What I would love, and this would be a real big sort of major swerve, but I'd love to see Finn Balor win and have Finn versus Seth for the Universal, and somehow see again Brock versus Daniel Bryan for the other championship. But it's not going to happen. But they had put on such a great match as the Night of Champions.
Is there no Intercontinental match? Is there no Ambrose match?
You know what? I don't know. I don't.
Ambrose
lost the belt. It's Lashley's the champ now.
Oh, all right.
And
so
they haven't announced. I don't believe they have announced it.
All right, so he'll be on the pre-show.
No, so
but I believe that Ambrose is in the Rumble.
Sure, I'm sure he is.
Yeah. All right. I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't disappear, because he could still be really good. I think. I liked where he went with his last promo. He's like, "You think I like hurting my brother?" Like I like that. I like that family type squabble thing.
So what was his impetus? What is he saying? I missed that promo.
He was.
What is he
I
saying?
mean, he didn't come out and say it, but what he was implying was that yes, what we all thought was true was true. It was all about how his two brothers he was nothing, and he made them both. Like he was the leader of the Shield. Then when Rollins broke it up, Ambrose all of a sudden Reigns is your number one guy, and Rollins is the Money in the Bank guy, and Ambrose is. So they were sort of implying that it was a slow burn, and which makes sense, even though that was a 3-year slow burn. But still,
the only thing that's in a slow burn is my stomach. Right?
It's a good thing we didn't go to.
Well, it is actually now almost 2:35 a.m. and since I got up at 4,
which is 4:35 for me.
Yeah, I've always been up for 24 hours. So
yeah, we got a solid 2 hours out of this.
Yeah, so let me ask you real quick. Looking forward to WrestleMania in New York this year?
Oh yeah.
So am I.
Oh yeah.
Especially because it's in New York.
Yes, I'm. And I'm looking forward.
All right, so for everyone listening, Groo and I are booked for Mania and the Raw, Monday Night Raw after Mania. Any chance we'll do a WrestleCon or a WrestleFest or?
I absolutely want to. I would love to do both a WrestleCon and an Access. I'm sorry we didn't do. I still love doing Access, even though it's not as hands-on.
If we can get Craig a ticket to come with us.
Oh yeah, well we can buy tickets to Access if we have to. The reason we didn't go last year is because we didn't get the free tickets.
We didn't go last year?
No, we went to WrestleCon. We went to Access at Bobo was 2 years ago.
That's right.
So we didn't go to Access last year.
I had a great time at that WrestleCon though.
Yes, WrestleCon is a must. Just because it's just always that was just so cool. Just even walking around there. And just being in the presence of all these of such level, all the way up to all the way down. And listen, honestly, I'm hoping that Hulk Hogan is somehow involved in WrestleMania, as whether just an attraction or a host, or maybe he'll be at Access or something. Just any chance to see that guy. I know what you think, and you're not wrong. The reaction to him is still weird, and I don't get it.
I think what you saw with the Mean Gene is probably how they'll use him moving forward, which will be, I don't think he's going to host, But to come out, do a quick hit segment, get some cheers, do a quick, brother, and get out. I think that's probably for now how you'll see him.
Yeah. Well, look, if he hasn't been forgiven by the WWE universe by now, it'll never happen.
I don't think it's him. I just think it's, again, the mainstream press.
Yes, they haven't let it alone.
I mean, there are some websites that just really kill it, and I agree. Listen, the guy's apologized. I don't think he's the face of the WWE moving forward anytime soon.
No, I don't think he ever will be. His time has passed.
To do a nostalgia run here and there, I think you'll see that. But it's not going to be as a host, a major. It'll be a quick segment. Get him in, get him out. We'll get a little shine, and then that's it. Move on to the next segment.
Yeah, but I hope in certain areas, like he could be at Access, like for
Sure.
Even though
that's not on TV, so I think
but we've met him before, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't break the bank to meet him again.
No, I just actually had a conference in my office, and a parent took a picture of my Hulk Hogan shirt plaque on my wall.
Yeah. What about the one with you sucking on the pacifier an hour later in Publix?
That's not on my wall, but
that's one of my favorite pictures. I got mine too.
That is awesome. So. All right, we will see everyone in 48 hours after the Rumble. We will come back.
Our post-Rumble.
We will be depleted. We'll have IV drips for the lack of sleep. And we'll give you our thoughts on the actual Rumble event.
We'll come back with the traditional.
See how your predictions were.
But the difference is here, it won't be that late because it'll be over by 8 o'clock.
That's a benefit.
Yeah.
We gotta get you to the airport the next day pretty early.
That's cool, yeah.
So. All right, we are signing off. Nothing worthwhile, Moody and Groo. We'll see you in 48 hours.
Yazoo. Rip. I keep forgetting. Yeah. That's got to be our trademark.
All right, close it out, Groo.
Now, okay. All right, so we're going to see you in 48 hours after the Royal Rumble, where we're going to see who was right, who was wrong, and where we go from here. Okay, so until then, rip 'em!